Real estate guy Josh Altman joins us now. Josh, Los Angeles is implementing a new, or we're told they're going to implement, a 4% cap on annual rent increases. How's that going to affect real estate in LA?
Stuart, thanks for having me again. Look, I'm all about affordable housing. It sounds great, but it seems to me like we're putting a Band-Aid over a wound here. Let's talk about the actual numbers here. 60% of people who live in Los Angeles rent. You have another probably 1.5 million units are available for rental. And out of that, about 40% qualify for this rent stabilization ordinance, which are buildings that were built before 1978. So look, it sounds great. It's good for the tenant because you have lower rent, you have stronger protection from tenant displacement. But let's look at the overall picture here. What you're doing is you're driving investors and landlords to put their money elsewhere, not in Los Angeles. And exactly. I'm seeing it front and center with my clients every single day. Their money is just as good anywhere else in the country. Now, I'm going to tell you how it's going to come back to the tenants, which people are not thinking about here. It's bad for the tenants because these buildings from 1978, they're not in great shape.
Oh, I'm going to tell you this right now. As a person that owns real estate in Los Angeles, do not buy any real estate in Los Angeles. So Los Angeles implemented a 4% rent increase cap, meaning I can only raise my rent 4%. How am I supposed to make money? How am I supposed to keep the units in good condition if labor is up, to get things, price is up, everything is up except I can't raise the rents? What's going to happen is a lot of these rental units in California, or in Los Angeles to be exact, it's going to be like New York. Landlords are just going to just get people out or just not do anything for these buildings, and these people are going to move out and they're just going to hold them vacant. That's where it's starting to get to. There's no point of us having units if we can't raise the rent and match it with inflation. Like, we have low rent limits, but inflation is up. Pricing of everything is up. Pricing of labor, pricing of anybody to come and fix anything is gone up. So why can't we raise the rents? It makes no sense. This is why we need to get Karen Bass out of there, because she doesn't know what she's doing. She's over Los Angeles, and that you have the assembly or whatever, councilmen's, whatever. But you have to have people in there that are business minded, understand we have to match the rents with the current state of the economy and inflation. So if you're trying to get real estate or buy real estate, don't do it in Los Angeles. The only people that's really winning in Los Angeles as far as real estate, if you have a big portfolio and you've had it for years. So you can, and you own it outright, you can afford to just not rent it out. And that's what a lot of landlords are doing. They'll get them vacant, or they'll just force the person out by not fixing anything. And then when that happens, they just keep it vacant. They just keep it vacant. It's going to be just like how New York is, where a lot of those guys own these properties and they keep them vacant. They don't care how they look. They don't care. They just keep them vacant and don't put anybody in there until things change for us to be able to make money. People that buy real estate like myself, we don't buy real estate to just, house people for free. We have to make money. And the thing is, though, I wish the banks would get involved with this, because the bank's money's on the line too. The banks don't want these properties, because if a property goes foreclosure, then the banks have it, and now what they're going to do with it? I wish the banks would kind of step up and kind of force these laws and help with this, because they're getting affected too. So if a person can't afford it, and just the way how things are, foreclosure happens, and then what happens? The banks is stuck. They have a property that now they have to pay tax on because they legally own it. But it's just that Los Angeles, we have the wrong people in office. We don't have business people thinking like business minds. Karen Bass is terrible. All the other people that's voting for this is terrible. They're basically trying to say they're protecting the tenants, but really this is going to backfire on the tenants, because the landlord's just going to quit. He's just going to be like, hey, I can't fix it. I can't afford it. Sue me. That's going to take forever. And then the tenants would just get upset and then move out. And then you're just chilling there with an empty unit, and you're just like, all right, cool. This is how I want it anyway. So this is a bad thing for Los Angeles. And it's starting to get more and more. People are just saying, I'm not going to rent it out. There's so many vacant units right now. It's because landlords refuse to rent it out. But, Josh is going to talk more about this, but he's absolutely right. With this is happening, it's forcing investors not to invest. They're going to be like, nah, I'm not going to invest in Los Angeles. I'm going to invest in an area where it's landlord friendly. We want to take care of tenants, but if things keep breaking and we got to pay for it and we're losing money, what's the point of us owning real estate? And also, too, you can't even evict a tenant, in a quick, swift manner because it takes 9 months to a year to get somebody out. So we're really in a conniption as far as like, what do you do? And then you try to sell it. You can sell it, but you're not going to get your max dollar because everybody knows what's happening in Los Angeles. Some people are willing to take that gamble, but obviously they're not going to pay full price. So it's a dirty game. I think what's going to happen is you're just going to have to let the Los Angeles market just crash. You're going to have to let the market crash for multi-units. You're going to have to let these things just crash. And then Los Angeles will have to do something to stimulate these landlords to rent. Because what's going to happen is there's going to be a surplus of renters to a units, and then a landlord's going to be like, no, I don't want to rent. That's their right. That's something, me and my wife talk about. Hey, some of our units come up empty. People move out, just won't rent it. We'll just keep it. And then what happens? People will be knocking on the door. Are you renting? No. Just got to board it up and make sure nobody gets in there as squatters. But what else are we supposed to do if we're not making money? We rather just pay the mortgage and just chill than pay the mortgage and then something breaks. We got to pay for that, but we can't raise the rent to be able to get some of that money back. That doesn't make sense.
And what happens when the landlord stops making money on these buildings?
Exactly.
They're not going to fix the buildings anymore, so you're going to have a decline in the buildings. You're going to have harder to find places to rent.
Exactly.
Because no more new builds are going to be happening, because why would you do that if you can't make any money?
Absolutely.
So there's
right.
going to be a lot less construction.
Absolutely.
It sounds
right.
completely counterproductive to me.
Yep.
Are you seeing any landlords just getting out now, selling and leaving?
Well, it's interesting. I sold the place last week, a 4-unit, and so I called up the landlord that I sold it to, and I said, just out of curiosity, if you weren't making any money on this building, would you fix what's broken? Said, absolutely not. Why would I do that? Also, I had a call yesterday with Rick Caruso, a good friend of mine. We talk all the time. You know what Rick told me, which really blew my mind? He says, Josh, you understand that 30% of the cost to build goes towards red tape and bureaucracy. So what if we could take that 30% and we can pass it on to the tenants? So it's going to keep prices down. It's going to get people excited to build like they do in Florida. By the way, all the agents in Florida, they're laughing at the agents in LA, what we have to deal with here.
Sure.
You're going to have more units. Prices are going to go down. Investors are going to invest, and LA is going to be happy. That's how you approach this the correct way.
You've only got 1.2% of Los Angeles homes changed hands this year. The market's stagnant. Why isn't anything happening? Why is there no more sales going on?
How much time do we have, Stuart? Because there's a lot happening. There's a lot happening because, obviously the obvious stuff. We got the rates and everything like that. But remember, they also did something in the past, which I didn't think was a great idea. It's called the mansion tax. And that was a sure way to crash the market. This seems a lot like that mansion tax, where it sounds good and it's a nice, beautiful picture, but at the end of the day, it's going to come back on the tenants, and that's not what's going to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish here.
Josh, California is a case study in what not to do.
What is the mansion tax? The mansion tax is they put this mansion tax basically if you're selling a house over $5 million, they add an additional 4% tax that goes to the city of Los Angeles. Idiotic. When people heard about this, there was a record number of houses over $5 million being sold because they didn't want to pay the mansion tax. And then now you have people with these houses worth over $5 million, they rather just keep it. So what that does is when you add these extra taxes on these housing, it just makes people stop whatever they're doing. Well, I'm not going to sell it. I'll just keep it. Pay the property tax. That's it. What it is we have a city of people managing money that don't know how to manage money. And this is what Democrats do. They feel like, okay, we can't manage the budget. We overspent, or we gave money to homeless programs that ain't doing a damn thing. And then we don't have any money. And then we're banking on the money coming for these things because we're California. But then the money doesn't come. So then what they try to do is they try to tax everything that they can to be able to get more money for reckless spending. How about we just change the leadership of running Los Angeles and put real people in there that run a budget? I've always said this in all the things that I've talked about. If you follow me and you really watch my videos, I say this same thing. We need to have politicians in office that understand how to have a budget. We can't you're punishing the people that bail you out for bad spending. Like, this is why we need to see the budget. We need to see, what's last year's budget? What did you spend this money on? Because we need to see, what are you guys putting this money into? Are you putting this money into the education and things you say you really need? Or are you putting it in somebody else's pockets to solve a problem that has not been solved for 15 to 20 years? Their solution is tax more. Tax. But all it does is make things stagnant. This is the reason why the real estate market is down. Nobody wants to sell. Realtors are hurting. The banks are hurting. People that do financing is hurting. All these things that they're trying to tax, people just stop. I'm not going to sell my house. Yeah, it's worth 15 million, but why would I give you a 4%? It's idiotic. Why would I give you that just because you want to tax me? But then you take the money and you spend it on dumb stuff, or you give it to the immigrants, or you give it to refugees, or you give it to people that came over here from a different country to help them get their license and help them get their CDL license and all these programs. You're not even getting that money and putting that money to real things, to real American kids, real kids from California. You're giving it to people that's not even for this country. So why do you keep taxing people that's trying to do something with their lives and be productive, but you want to tax them or cap them from the amount of money that they make? Everything goes up. Everything has gone up in the real estate industry, meaning labor, meaning materials, meaning cost of taxes. It's ridiculous. But why would you cap us? The people that own properties, why would you just keep us here? So do you want us to be a charity? I just say this, why doesn't just Los Angeles just buy up all of the properties, and then you could be in control of the rental prices and everything? I guarantee if you guys did that, you guys would be out of business and be trying to sell these units as fast as possible because you guys don't understand the business. There's no reason why we should be capped. What caps people in the real estate industry and rental prices is the market. So if I'm trying to rent something for $6,000 and nobody comes and I bring it down to 5, a couple of people come and somebody comes at 4, or I get more people at 3. That's what's telling me what my rental market is. LA doesn't know anything about the rental market. They don't understand that some places are worth $5,000 a month. Some places are worth $10,000 a month. Some places are worth $2,500 a month. We need to have real people in there that know the business. And you have to let real estate, especially rental prices, be a free market. Put pressure on having these people not depending on you guys and actually working for what they need to work for. But Los Angeles, you got to get it together. As a landlord, we all feel like it. I'm speaking for a lot of landlords that I know. We feel like you guys hate landlords. Like, I really feel that Los Angeles cannot stand landlords. Like, you guys just want to have us there to take our money, but you don't want us to prosper. If we don't prosper, we'll just sell. And what's going to happen is a big conglomerate is going to buy up all the properties, and then they're going to be punking you guys, and then you guys won't be getting any money. Do you guys really want that? This is about to be an American dream. So many people make money off of property, but there's a lot of people trying to make money off of property, trying to build their portfolio and not trying to do people dirty, but we still have to make money. Like, come on, free enterprise. This is why Rick Caruso should have been, we should have picked up Rick Caruso over Karen Bass. I don't know why people voted for Karen Bass. She doesn't know what she's doing. You see what she's doing with the fire department. You see what is she doing? She's doing nothing. Just because she had Kim Kardashian representing her, now everybody will vote for Karen Bass. It's idiotic. Stop falling for the Democrats, what they do. They get a high-profile celebrity, so you guys go crazy and vote for that person, and that person gets in office and does absolutely nothing. Okay? So this is why when we have an opportunity to vote for another mayor, we have to think about the economy, capitalism. You need capitalism for things to go around. Okay? This is what I'm saying. But if you got any comments about this, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening to me rant and talk and just give you information. But as always, we're going to keep rolling and we're going to keep doing this thing.